Oh, that's a, a little bit complicated story maybe, but so the idea came from my previous experience. So I had a previous company and we came across a problem of people who had some issues with allergies and asthma and didn't have the solution. And we looked into it, like, can we do something about it? But we didn't give it a thought. Mm-hmm. And once I continued my studies and we were supposed to think about some problems we didn't know how to solve, mm-hmm. then I took it as a project during my studies, and actually it evolved in a company. Well, when you make a positive impact, when you see that you change something for better, in our case, since we help with making the buildings and indoor environments better and we spend most of the time indoors, it's the impact that we make it better for everyone and either healthier or at least comfortable. Maybe I think it's like for every entrepreneur that there is way too many challenges, but then if it was easy, everybody would have done that, right? Mm-hmm. So once you are starting and you have the idea and nobody believes you, nobody trusts you, and everybody says like, oh, well, try, but you know, you should think twice, or these things. So that's the beginning, but then the second step is like, okay, I'm gonna try, right? Where do I get the resources? Where do I get the support? How do I know what to do next? So that's a challenge every day. Every day is a challenge. Mm-hmm. So I think we are just moving to the next stage. So in Finland things are going fairly well, I think, and we have raced around. So I'm relocated past 3 months to New York, and we launched in the US. So first customers in the US, and we are getting also more customers around Europe. So things are starting to roll. Okay. That's going to be the next step. Kind of, I think that every stage as we were developing, we got some support. Either it was through someone advising us, and it was, since we started at the university, there were people who could connect us either to some professionals or help us to direct us or navigate us. So it was quicker to validate, does it make sense? And once we started to build the program, because there is Finland is, well, Helsinki ecosystem is quite small, so people know each other and they can recommend you to others who have done something similar, right? So again, it helps you to reach out and ask for the experience of the others. And that's what I like about Finland or Nordic, is people share, they don't kind of close themselves and they're willing to help. So that was good. And on the public funding side, so initially we have received, I think, something from Ely-keskus in the very beginning when we were working. It was basically just an idea. I think it was some basic salary subsidy. And then later on, once it looked like that the product works and it looks promising, we have received grants and loans from Tekes. I think for our case they were good, and like I don't have anything to complain about. I can compare it to the Czech Republic where I come from, and I had my previous company there where there is not much of ecosystem, or when I left from there was not much of ecosystem and there was no public funding, and private funding is also just emerging. So then you have to choose you have to work on ideas which are much more certain and which yield results much faster, which ultimately harms you in the long run. How far can you get, right? So I think that the ecosystem here works very well. There's maybe too many options, so you have to choose, and you are thinking like, okay, should I take a startup loan, or should I take a startup salary, or should I take some EU subsidy? And each of them has different terms and for different purpose and different application, and you're just like, I just need one little thing and move on, right? So navigating through that, if we didn't see the other entrepreneurs what they did, or that wasn't there some kind of path I just taken. It would be difficult to choose from those. And I think maybe what is more of a too much is, like, it's nice people want to help and advise, but then you always have to think critically of the advice, because every advice is determined someone else's the experience, right? And the experience might not be or might be relevant. So it was very nice that everybody wanted to help, but it's not always. It can get overwhelming, and it's tricky to choose what is the right advice. So. We have been involved with a few of these because, well, as we started from the Aalto University, so that was Aalto University had its own co-working space where we could get free space for, I think it was a year. So initially we got that. In between we got to the Startup Accelerator, Summer of Startups, and the Startup Sauna. So we did it during the summer of the first year. And after that, there's this European Incubators, Accelerators, Research Centers, the EIT ICT Labs. So again, we got a free office, which was, I think, very useful. Because there were startups who were in the same stage and they were doing similar things, or not technologically, but anyways, they were the same stage. So we could help each other, recommend, and it was nice. Also, it was nice that there, I don't know how selective they are, but they are somewhat selective. So you feel like that somebody is already saying, like, this looks promising, and that helps a lot. I would be afraid that it's a little bit of a distraction. That yes. So for instance, we haven't done almost any piloting. We have done some piloting just for ourselves, not for the customer, to test, does the technology work? But that you can test in your home, or it depends, of course, what you are building, right? If you're building an app, you can test it on your phone. But if you are testing with users who are not committed, that they have put money on the table, they are just not gonna care enough, or they're gonna tell you whatever crosses their mind. But once they see that they have paid money and they are committed, or like that they give you money, that means like I'm interested or I care, right? And once they spend the money, they know, oh, I need to get something out of this, right? And if they are not getting it, they give you feedback. But like, if we put it somewhere randomly, the comments and the feedback we have received, it was, even a demo at our office, there are visitors coming, and it's, unfortunately, it's not so relevant because it's industry specific. Reach out to those who have been there already and ask even more questions than you are asking. But make sure that you don't take anything as a fact. Everything is just an advice, right? And I think that that was, for us, really important, like that we walked around, we asked a lot of questions, and then, that was what I mentioned earlier, then it becomes overwhelming, but you need to choose what applies and what not, right? And there is, even if the startup has one advisor, he doesn't have all the answers, right? So you need a big network of people who can give you a little bit, and it's your job as an entrepreneur to connect everyone and everything together to make something out of it. So reach out and ask.